So hockey is back. I am honestly so excited. I'm a little bit tipsy. Unfortunately, I couldn't buy Storm Brew, but if you want to celebrate local beer, Red Oak is my favorite North Carolina brewery. So this isn't sponsored by them, but if you're like me and you live in the Triad area and you want to drink some North Carolina beer while you watch a good Canes game, Red Oak is my favorite beer to go to besides the Hurricanes branded Storm Brew. Not sponsored, just trying to fit the theme of like Hurricanes hockey, North Carolina beer. Got a little bit excited watching the Canes game. My dog came running down and flying. Um, but I do want to do something quick because I will be sharing this to subreddit as if you guys get notified when I upload and stuff. I am running a TW series. It's been a while since I uploaded. Wanted to update the fans of that series in this video as well. So yeah, basically, you guys are kind of learning a lesson that my hockey subscribers have, and that my YouTube channel comes last. I got dogs, I have a job, I have just day to day life. I pride myself on having a good workout routine, so everything comes down, and YouTube comes last. So a lot of times during the regular season, I can't upload hockey videos. Unfortunately, with Corky's Corner and hockey kicking back into full screen, TEW will also take a backseat to my life. There's still going to be videos, just it's not going to be pumping them out daily like it was. I have the next episode recorded, been that way for a week. I still have the storylines in my head. Love doing TEW, expect more of that on the channel. Unfortunately, it has had to take a back seat through some days. So when I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and then it'll be back after after this weekend. So I know there are fans of this TW series. I do apologize. I love recording them. Unfortunately, with hockey kicking up back into full swing, that also becomes a priority on this channel. And yeah, so I apologize to TW fans. I love making the videos. I know you guys like watching them. So there's that. And expect more CFW. Got a lot of long-term plans for storylines. Don't worry, I got you, TW fans. But back to this. And I would say I don't think you could script a game better, except for that start. That start by Carolina was absolutely atrocious. And I do want to pull up who scored at certain points in this game. But I'll get into it. All in all, I'm very thrilled with this performance. If you're a Hurricanes fan, you couldn't be any happier. But honestly, that first period left a lot to be desired. Canes came out super slow, and Freddie Anderson really held Carolina in there. And then, the power play, what the first power play was shit. Like it was bad. The first power play, terrible power play by Carolina. And I was literally going to come on here and say, death, taxes, Carolina has a bad power play. But later in the game, Carolina got their power play back into control. So before I praise Carolina, before I praise the people that are far better than hockey, than who are as good as hockey as I dreamed of being as good as hockey, but by the time I was 15, knew it wasn't going to happen. So I just want to square that all out. But if I'm going to address the good that happened later in the game, I do got to address some of the bad. The power play was bad. The breakout was really bad. I thought I was actually surprised how many times I said you got to catch that pass, and they did it. And I thought the breakout, it really showed and kind of hurt Carolina. I don't think they were clicking. I know it's a new team. It's their first period together. So all in all, I do understand that it was a new team. Some of it was new team blues, but Ottawa had a new team as well. So I don't think that excuse necessarily flies, even if a lot of the awkwardness showed more with Carolina. But then after that, in the second period, Carolina got their shit together. They played really well. They started getting momentum. Michael Bunting on the power play, you love to see that. I think Michael Bunting's presence in front of the net being like, I'm not insulting Nason because Nason was a really important piece to the Hurricanes power play that has been bad ever since they've become a good team. Nason had that net front presence, but he's not a skilled player. Michael Bunting might be a hybrid of skill and net front presence. Like skill, I mean with the hands. Michael Bunting may be that hybrid that Carolina needs because he got the goal. There were multiple chances he had. He gives another threat to Carolina because Carolina, they've always seek that quarterback. I'm of the believer I don't think the quarterback is the problem. Brent Burns, Tony D'Angelo, Dougie Hamilton, they've had multiple quarterbacks to get their power play together, and they haven't. I think it was the forwards. Michael Bunting may be that solution because he's another threat for them to worry about. He gets a goal in the power play, on pace for a goal a game for the Hurricanes. I'm sure that won't last, but I love to see it. Shout out to Michael Bunting. I thought Michael Bunting had a great night. And you know what? The scoring followed. They got the momentum after giving up the first goal. They got another goal. I believe it was Teravainen. Love to see that. Teravainen had a weak year. I think he was playing injured for a lot of it. It came out. I think he's looking to have a bounce back year. I thought him and Natchez actually complemented each other really well. I don't think we saw a lot of that last season. I think if Brindamore wants to turn to Teravainen and Natchez quite a bit, I would be on board with that. But yeah, Teravainen gets a goal. I think that probably felt good for him. And the third line by Carolina, Martinook had an amazing performance. I think 2 years ago when Martinook had that off year, I think the injury clearly was that based on how he played tonight and how he played last season. More of that. Martinook on that third line, Fost, Stahl, Martinook, they particularly stood out for having a great night. They were Carolina's best line at certain points in the game. Love to see it. And I was thinking, Carolina, they can't rely on their third line being the best line. The other two lines stepped up tonight. So that criticism I had didn't stay because of how good the third line played. And then another thing that was really great is any other team would have lied down after giving up a shorthanded goal, which I could sit here and bash Orlov for that mistake. A, he laid a beautiful hit right after that. Love physical players on the Hurricanes. And B, I don't necessarily. I think any defenseman has made that play before where they try to get a shot through, it hits the pad, the team comes down and scores. I made that mistake in B League hockey in the youth system. Like every defenseman and their mother has made that mistake before. So I'm not going to bash Orlov too much. I think Anderson should have had the second one right after that, and they Ottawa tied the game coming back from a down from a 2-goal lead. A lot of teams would have folded, not Carolina. They came back in. Tony D'Angelo, a lot of people have problems with Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo in Carolina seems to work. Maybe it's because we're in the Bible Belt, but Tony D'Angelo, a lot of people don't like Tony D'Angelo's game. I understand why. He's not good defensively, but he played his role here very well. He got a couple extra shifts at the end of the game, and he earned it. He came in, he stood up for Natchez, got under Ottawa's skin. Very good effort by Tony D'Angelo here tonight in terms of proving himself once again to Carolina. Again, coming back here with doubts after leaving Carolina. So I understand people's apprehension of bringing Tony D'Angelo in, but he served his role here very well and very effectively. And that was kind of turned around the momentum. The momentum started from there. And I remember saying Seth Jarvis for a long time. I love Seth Jarvis. He goes into the corners, he takes a hit, takes some brutal hits at that. Like, I mean, gets rocked. And the commentators were talking about how he's apparently put on 9 pounds of muscle. It showed. Shout out to Jarvis for making those gains as well. I'm sure he's watching. I'm kidding, of course, but I'm sure Jarvis is watching. Um, but yeah, he came in and he was laying the big hits. I love to see that. After seeing Seth Jarvis get clobbered and get back up like he's Rocky Balboa, it's nice to see Seth Jarvis laying the body as good as he's taken it. He's dishing it out now, and I love to see that from Seth Jarvis. He's young, as he enters his 20s, because he's 22. He's going to get bigger. He's going to build more mass, and you love to see that from Seth Jarvis. 9 pounds of muscle. I'm going to have to catch up to you, Seth Jarvis, but love to see that. And his physical play resulted in the fifth goal for Carolina. I don't remember who scored the fourth goal by, of course, my favorite player on the Hurricanes, my second favorite player of all time, Jacob Slavin. I'm going to see who pulled up the fourth goal as long as the NHL app has it right. And I know, the. Oh, it can't be loaded. So that's great. There we go. Summary. There we go. Who scored the fourth goal? Brady Shea when he sniped it. So it was either that play or that one. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit tipsy with the Hurricane review here, but yeah, it was an epic snipe by Brady Shea. Love to see that. And one thing still apprehensive about, probably will be all year. I don't necessarily like Shea and Pesci playing together. I remember in the overtime of the second game, because the Hurricanes were still home in that sweep against Florida, I was literally like, oh no, Shea and Pesci are on the ice, and Florida scored. So I don't like that pair together. Tonight was a first step in proving me wrong on that pair. I know they played together a lot, and they may have just hit a rough patch in the playoffs. One of them could have been injured, tweaked a ligament, never said anything, never came out. I get it. And this pair is, I'm probably a little too not liking these two together, but they took steps in proving me wrong. So shout out to Brett Pesci and Brady Shea tonight for proving my doubts wrong for the first game. But yeah, I mean, all in all, solid win. You could script it a little bit better. I'm not going to say you couldn't script a better start to the season, but winning in October is important. It's going to be harder to win games to Carolina than it is other teams, because if you look at their schedule, they're going off to the west. They're doing their West Coast road trip right off the bat, and I mean those. Oh God, this app is terrible now. I know the NHL uploaded it, and the NHL in classic NHL fashion. So their next game is against LA, then they go to Anaheim, San Jose, Seattle, then they have Colorado, and then they have a game in the East Coast, and they're not home until the 26th. And then and then they're back, and then they have a homestand. But winning in October for Carolina is going to be a lot harder than it is for other teams, and this was a crucial big win. Hey, my cat's wanting to let me know the Hurricanes won. Let's go, Mill. My cat's excited about the Hurricanes winning as well. All in all, great game for Carolina. It feels very good for hockey to be back. You love to see it, and we'll see you guys. So I may miss the 20th game. Luckily, it is a West Coast game, so I may be able to catch it. That's the night of the wedding that I'll be attending. So all in all, I may miss that game. I'll try to be back for. Actually, I might be busy as well for Anaheim, but I will get as many out as I can. I promise. But yeah, I am out of town this weekend, so it may be hard. I will be bringing my computer. I will have ESPN Plus, so I will. If I get a chance to watch the game, I will. I promise. But yeah, just if I can't cover those two games, I apologize, but we got this one in. So Hurricane Review, of course, is back. Hockey is back. There is not a better place to be right now than you are right now. There's not a better time of the year other than the Stanley Cup playoffs than there is right now. I completely messed up that train of thought, but it just feels good. I mean, hockey is back. I get to sit down and watch Hurricanes games. I like being an armchair GM during the off season, but this is where being a hockey fan pays off right here. From October to June, hockey is back. What a better time to be alive.